Lose yourself in a good book. The Bord Gáis Energy Book Club.
Now, it has been said, if Ulysses is Dublin's Odyssey, Strumpet City is Dublin's epic. And if anyone is seeking the great Irish novel, they need look no further than James Plunkett's Strumpet City.
Plunkett himself explains the novel is a picture of Dublin in the 7 years from 1907 to 1914. Against the backdrop of social agitation, it's all about the attitudes of various stratas of society, from Dublin Castle and the people of property down to the destitute, poor and the outcasts. Joyce wrote about the moderately middle class and O'Casey about the slums of the period. And Plunkett was concerned about finding a form in which all of the elements could fit.
And Strumpet City is our Bord Gáis Energy Book Club choice for April, and this year's choice for One City, One Book. And joining us now to discuss this is author Christine Dwyer-Hickey. Christine, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Apologies, I'm full of cold.
It's okay.
Now, Christine, we were just chatting in the break there, myself and Mark and yourself, about the book, and you've chosen to read a few passages from the book to maybe introduce people to it, because some people may not have read it.
Well, I think a lot of people would have missed it. And I think that this is why I'm so impressed by Jane Alger, who's done it yet again, to choose a book like this, because it has been forgotten, or in danger of being forgotten by, or, you know, it needs to be rediscovered, I think. But I think that people sometimes think only of the sad parts of it, the destitution, the poverty, all that sort of stuff. But there's funny things in it too. And it's a very humane book. I think it's all about all frailty, human frailty is in it, and all human strength is in it. You know, I see you said there it was a book about Ireland, but it's really a Dublin book, I think. It's very
I think that's very true, and it kind of paints a picture of a Dublin that we've lost, really, in many ways.
We have lost, I think. You know, as you were saying earlier, much of Dublin has changed in the past 30 years. But I've just been watching the television series again, and you can see, and I love spotting where the places are in Dublin, you know. And some of them are still there. Henrietta Street is still there, where Chandler's Court is, but a lot of them are gone, unfortunately.
So what are you going to read from us? You've chosen a few passages.
Well, I picked 2 pieces, because I think it's a great choice for a book club, simply because of the amount of characters, and every character is complex, and no 2 characters are the same. And so, but yet you have people from 3 completely different walks of life, but every single person is the same, you know. But anyway, this first little piece that I picked shows sort of the difference between the poor and the rich. And it's just after Christmas, and the people in Chandler's Court have had quite a good Christmas. The Fitzpatricks, Bob Fitzpatrick has been given a job as a foreman. Mrs Bradshaw has been sending a few bits of furniture, and Mary is delighted with herself and sees nothing but good things ahead of her. And meanwhile, the Toucher Hennessy has 2 part-time jobs. He usually has no job at all. He has 2 part-time jobs. One is a porter to a publican, and the other delivering meat on a buckety bicycle for
By the way, you need to explain Toucher now, because in modern parlance, Toucher could be very different.
Oh, it could be different.
A Toucher was somebody who was forever on the mooch.
He's
was a borrower.
on the mooch, always borrowing this, and he's a gansy load of kids, and
he'd
a
always
charge
put the
of a
touch
wife.
on you,
and he's a charge of a wife. But anyway, and Rashers had a pretty good time. He always, with his busking, and he always had to rely on the kindness of strangers. But anyway, the Christmas is over. For others, there was less to look forward to. First, the publican decided the time had come when there was no longer any need for an extra porter. Then the butcher, despite a kindly sympathy, had only 3 days a week to offer, then weekends only, then, with regret, nothing. The city, its spending over, closed its purses to rashers. January spread its dark skies above the children whose little bodies were bent over the ash cans. A series of shipping strikes marked the resumption of the dogged fight against long hours and inadequate wage packets. People who had overcoats kept them buttoned to the chin. In the mornings, their eyes saw nothing except the lighted windows of their business places, and in the evenings, nothing but the lighted windows of home. It shows the difference between people who have somewhere to go, people who have nowhere to go.
Paints a very vivid picture, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
The overcoat's done right up.
Yeah, well, you know what, it's the people who actually have the places of business to go to. And poor old Rashers who'd be wandering around, you know, trying to find a crust of bread.
These days you can go into middle-class homes and find people who are spending their evenings in their overcoats because they can't afford the heat.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of things are repeating, yeah.
No, it's not. It was, I mean, there were tough times in Dublin at the time, but it wasn't unrelentingly gloomy. And the way a lot of people got through this awful austerity that they were living through at the time was with humour, the legendary Dublin sense of humour.
That's right, which brings me to my next piece.
Off you go.
I hope this is not too bold for morning television.
Not
anyway.
at all, not at all.
We're all grown.
Anyway, there's a fella, you know the way what my father-in-law used to call the Holy Joes. There's these fellas that be always hanging around the church, and you get the impression they're making themselves useful all the time to the local priests. The impression that they're raging that they ever got married, and why didn't they become a priest instead? But Keever's one such man. And he keeps Father O'Connor well informed of all the Larkinites and what they're up to. And he delivers the Vincent de Paul parcels, and he's one of these fellas. He has a statue of St. Finbar out his back garden and all this backyard and all this stuff. But anyway, he's after getting a job here, courtesy of Father O'Connor, in a shop that sells statues and vestments and church furnishings, as they call it.
Happy as the proverbial.
Yeah, delighted himself. Except for his overseer, his supervisor, who he considers to be a blasphemous man, and he's quite shocked by him. But anyway, this is it. He's just having another session out at the front with Father O'Connor, telling him all about what's going to happen next with the strikers. But anyway, Keever returned to the stores, where, among the smells of colza oil and benzine, paraffin and brasso and beeswax, he made up parcels and filled cans and pondered on Father O'Connor's reaction to what he had reported. Until the overseer interrupted him to draw his attention to a new consignment of statues and gave him a price list. "I want you to mark these up," he said. "Put a price code on one of each kind and bring it up to the shop for display." Keever took the list and unpacked the first of the statues. It was St. Michael the Archangel. He looked at it in some doubt and said, "Where will I mark it?" The little overseer screwed up his face. "On the right cheek of his arse," he said. Shock paralysed the hand in which Keever held the marking pencil. It refused to move. "Go on," the overseer said after a while. "Do what you're told. There's no fear he'll sit down on it." So there's little moments like that. Just when you feel you're going to die of sadness, there's little moments.
And there's a wonderful new introduction by Fintan O'Toole, which is superb, actually.
Yes,
it was in the Times on Saturday.
That was in the Times on Saturday.
So if people have an old copy, it might be worth getting it for that introduction in this book, in this version.
Absolutely, and there's plenty to discuss for the book club. It's a great choice.
Cheers, Christine. Thank you very much.
Now, as you've just heard, Strumpet City is the Bord Gáis Energy Book Club choice for April, and is this year's choice for One City, One Book. If you would like to be in with the chance of winning a stylish BlackBerry playbook, then simply send your review of this classic to us here at Ireland AM.
Review should be no longer than 50 words and should reach us by Friday the 26th of April. They should be emailed to irelandm@tv3.ie or sent by post to Bord Gáis Energy Book Club, TV3, Westgate Business Park, Ballymount, Dublin 24. You can also enter through our website, which is tv3.ie/book club.
Lose yourself in a good book. The Bord Gáis Energy Book Club.